digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
It always ends
just running in the background, just dance, have a whole big dance party.
We have like some go-go dancers or something, you know?
Right. Oh,
So much fun.
you know what? I gotta show this shirt because this is my new favorite shirt. I just discovered this. For some
Ooh.
reason, it got kind of thrown away, and I just discovered it. Here, go. Look at this.
Aww. Aww.
For some reason, it got discarded, and now it's my new favorite shirt. I love it.
I had one. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I had one that said, remember there was a moment where like Kenny did something good and he came to the sideline and Mike Tomlin said, Kenny effing Pickett.
Right.
Yep. They made shirts. Like somebody, I don't know if it was one of the DC, whatever place made Kenny expletive Pickett shirts. And I had it. And now, there's so many jerseys. Can we talk about it, please? So many jerseys.
Okay.
That I've had to just.
So many jerseys. I have a lot of them. I got a Najee Harris right here. I got a Kenny Pickett. I got a Minkah.
Right.
I got a Minkah back there.
I got my Minkah. I'm wearing it for the last time today. I'm very sad. I thought about maybe getting the nameplate like whoever becomes 39. But I'm like, you know what?
The funny thing is, right, because I was able to repurpose my Kenny thing. I just duct taped it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'll be really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the funny thing is, my wife, she had a James Conner jersey. She's like, well, what are we gonna do now? I was like, oh, we got Kenny Pickett. Okay, yeah, right. Kenny Pickett. Yeah, let's get Kenny Pickett. He'll be here for the next 20 years. Yeah, let's get a Kenny Pickett jersey.
Right.
He's gone, and then she's like, okay, I am so sick of this. Pick a player that's not going anywhere. I was like, well, obviously TJ Watt. He's not going anywhere.
Nah.
Now he might be gone.
He's not going anywhere until he retires. But I bought mine probably for like the past 5 or 6 years. I bought all mine from DHgate. It's probably very illegal. I don't know how they're doing it. But I pay like $20 and I get it in like 3 months.
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
But it takes forever. But so honestly, like this was the last one, and my ex bought it for me. This is like probably one that was like originally $100. You know what I mean? But all my other ones have been from DHgate. So
I'm hoping this.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's not leaving.
You know what? If someone said Minkah, a couple years ago, oh, Minkah Fitzpatrick is not going anywhere. Of course,
right? Well, that's because he was good
for life,
right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been good in 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since he's been top.
He can go to Miami and be average.
Well, but let's go back. So
this
is supposed to be the dead period after mini camp. There's supposed to be no activity in football from then till the beginning of training camp. There's like a 6-week period where nothing happens. No football news. Nothing happens. I think even Omar Khan is on vacation right now. So all of like the football writers, they went on vacation too. It's like, oh, obviously nothing's going to happen. And then we get the news about 10:30 yesterday morning. Steelers acquired Jalen Ramsey. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously for like a pick or something, for a draft pick or something like that, it's like, okay, we'll see what the return is. And then like 5 minutes later, like Minkah Fitzpatrick. And that's when we all lost our freaking minds. Like, oh yeah, and poor Jonnu Smith, who is like one of the better tight ends in the league, is like he was just a throw-in. It seems like
they just tossed him in there. Yeah. I write for Pro Football Network, and I'm a copy editor there. So I was copy editing, and I'm like, everything's slow. The cue is like, I'm just kind of laying back, just doing my thing. And I was like, and Leanne Lohman, who's been on the show before, she helped me. We killed it. We got those stories out. The writers got them in. But it was crazy because like a lot of the writers had submitted their articles already by the time, like they were writing, and they weren't necessarily paying attention to everything going on because you just thought, Jalen Ramsey for a pick. They're just, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then we had to like re-edit we had to edit their stories and write it, to be current. Like, hey, it's not just, a
pick thing.
Right. Yeah. And then they thought, it's a player swap. And no, it's more than that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a hectic couple hours there for a little while, but we made it through. Just want to let you know.
And we were wondering, it's like, okay, what else is going to happen? Like,
right.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that what I see a lot are the hot takes right now, which are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but it's kind of the same people are doing the hot takes on the trade or did the who won the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like the minute the draft was like, okay, draft is over. Who won it? Yeah.
We'll let you know in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right though. What you're hearing is there's got to be something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bring in another safety. Because you didn't do position for position. You did a defensive backfield, but it wasn't exactly safety for safety. So are you going to trade away a tight end? Because now you got, or cut a tight end because you got 4 tight ends now. Connor Hayward.
I was going to say,
Cam, we really like you, but
you can go wherever Derek Watt is for all I care.
Don't buy a Connor Hayward jersey, folks.
No, I would not. No, but it's like, okay, that's the first part, but there's got to be more. And then it's absolutely, in my mind, hilarious seeing the hot takes from either people in media or fans going from this is the greatest trade. They're all in for this year. This is going to push him to a Super Bowl contender. I heard someone say Steelers Super Bowl contender because of this trade. And then I've heard people say, they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They're giving up this great all-world safety and who's so wonderful. And they're giving him up for this old guy. And like, they're like 2 years apart.
Right. Yeah. It's not.
I mean, admittedly, 2 years, you have that fall off area where, you're like, oh, you're really good. And all of a sudden you're like, that age just hit you. But it's not, they're not that much different. But the hyperbole is hilarious that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Pittsburgh Dad said it best. The Steelers are like PennDOT. They're creating holes where there don't need to be one.
There you go.
And that's what happened. Now they have, but now they have a hole at safety. You know what I mean? Or potentially, maybe they saw something in minicamp. I don't know how you would see anything in minicamp, but maybe they already have something in-house. Yeah. But I think the good thing is I feel like they don't have to worry as much about a wide receiver 2 now as they maybe did before because Jonnu has hands. He's going to be a significant target. You know what I mean?
He's not a blocker. So
right, exactly.
Basically, when they say this, it annoys me. It's like, well, he's a tight end. Like, yeah, but if he doesn't block, he's just a big wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. That's probably how it works.
And when you think tight end as a receiver, you think middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which you're like, oh, middle of the field? You mean we may actually throw to the middle of the field?
Right. Which hasn't been done in years.
No.
Exactly.
No. It's gonna be fun.
I'm so rusty. I haven't done a podcast. I forgot to do the intro. Welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. Welcome to everybody joining us live. 9 minutes in. If you want to join in on the conversation, join in on the I think the only way is on the YouTube channel, which is on the look at the fancy scroll down there. While you're at it. If you're on,
we're not going to have any comments now, though, because
I know Dave is the main commenter.
I'm here, so
and he's here. So.
Maybe you can type in some questions,
right?
and we can answer them.
Dave asks, like, wait a minute, why don't you just say something? Here's one hot take that drives me absolutely crazy, and I heard one of the reporters say this. Well, after this trade, or actually, this has been going on for a while. It's like, well, this doesn't mean they're going to beat Mahomes or Josh Allen or Burrow or Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. It's like, well, then, just forfeit the season. You know what? Like 20 some teams should just not play if that's the attitude you're going to have. I hate that so much. Oh, there's no way they're going to shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just put one foot in front of the other for now. Yeah. Let's just do that and see how it goes.
Like that one coach said, that's why you play the games. Or you play to win the games. Yeah. Whatever.
But and also, and you hate that you don't wish injury on almost anybody. You don't wish major injury on anyone, but
right, yeah.
There's some people you do wish minor injuries on, let's say Tom Brady.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson. Exactly. But it could happen. Patrick Mahomes has played 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Mm-hmm.
He's still young, but that wears on you.
He gotta be tired.
Well, yeah, and when you're tired or your muscles get a little worn out, even being young, he, twists the wrong way. Someone tackles him weird. Someone falls on him. Remember when Marquise Pouncey was out for a year because someone stepped on him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Weird shit happens. Sorry, but with the S word, but weird stuff happens. And yeah, you can't say, oh yeah, here's your Super Bowl winners right here. Because who would have predicted Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl last year at the beginning of the year?
Exactly.
They would have said they were good, but I don't think anyone had them as they can beat the Chiefs easily.
Right.
Ben played in the same era as Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, and he still won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right?
Now,
yeah.
He didn't play. He never played Brady in the playoffs, which is a good thing. But he beat Peyton Manning.
Right.
But all this, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who. Yeah, like you said, who might get hurt or what the heck happens. So, it's unpredictable. If it was predictable, I'd be making a lot of money on gambling. It's not.
Right. No, it's not.
And I mean, there's contracts going on. Like I said, we mentioned about TJ Watt. When are they going to extend him? I think I remember someone saying last time it was like 3 days before the start of the season.
Yeah.
It was so late. So
same with Hayward. I mean, that's just, it happens.
Yeah. And with the people we're bringing in, Miami's taking some of the contract money. So I think we're a little bit lighter in our cap space, but it's not significant. And we have I hate to sound $10 million is dirt cheap, but we have a dirt cheap quarterback right now at $10 million. Right. So we have room. And who knows, these people we're bringing in, we may say, oh, John, you want to sign, you had $12 million this year. We gave you a raise. How would you like to sign an extension? How would you like to pull out a little bit more? Now that you're not on the Dolphins, would you like it? There's tons of stuff going on.
If and when they do sign TJ Watt, their cap number this year actually will go down. Mm-hmm. That actually frees up space. I don't know how, but it does.
Math.
The math ain't math. I was told there would be no math.
Well, it's the signing. It's the way they, the signing bonus is spread out evenly. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the breakdown, and this is where the Steelers got into trouble in the past, is they would say to players, "Oh, you're guaranteed so much money. Okay, but your first year's salary is going to be $1 million, but your year 5 salary is going to be $25 million."
Right.
And then you get to a whole bunch of people are getting their 5th year, and you're like, oh, we have no cap space because everyone's contract's backloaded. Now we have to play with the contract again and move it out and change it to signing bonus so they're guaranteed and other things going on, which hopefully they're getting a little better.
That's great.
That's clever. Dave got hacked. That's the only explanation for that.
That's great.
But I kind of wonder because Omar's been busy the last couple of years since he's been GM. I kind of wonder when he was just the money guy.
Right.
Was he chomping at the bit? You know, Colbert's last couple of years where he's like, we should make this move, this move, this move.
Yeah.
We're doing this. It's like, well, you're not. I know, but this is what I would do. I would do this. And it's like, I'm in charge. I can make all the moves now.
Right.
Colbert was old fashioned. And honestly, he set this team back a while because those his last few drafts sucked. But he was old fashioned. There's no way Colbert would have signed Aaron Rodgers. There's no way he would have made this trade of, there's a million things that Omar is doing that Colbert would have never done.
And we're not poo-pooing what Colbert did. It's just that we know
drafts. Yeah.
I mean, but we all know people who are
it just ended bad.
Yeah, we know people who are, and outside of sports even, who are like, you should have retired or you should have moved on from this job 2-3 years before you did.
Yeah.
The last
and it's
couple
like that anywhere, really. Yeah. Like Joe's probably tired. Well, I'm not saying you could be tired of your job. Have you been at your job too long and maybe you should move along? Yes, but you're staying because you're comfortable and because you like the people you work with and whatever.
You have bills to pay.
Right.
They pay you enough to pay stuff.
But honestly, I think that might be an issue with Tomlin at some point.
Yeah,
some point
he might, if he doesn't get burned out, or if this keeps continuing of this, this 9-8, 10-7 losing the playoffs crap. We'll see. Here's another thing that annoys the heck out of me. So this is like very shortly after this trade was announced. Adam Schefter tweets, sources, in recent weeks, multiple teams have been discussing whether they could trade for Steelers standout TJ Watt, who skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh hasn't shown any willingness to deal Watt so far, but he's unhappy with his contractual situation, and sources believe outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade. Bro, one had nothing to do with the other.
Right, yeah.
They didn't get rid of Minkah. Now it was nice that it saved money. I mean, because Minkah had a big salary.
Yeah.
But this had nothing to do with TJ Watt. Even if they kept it, even if they got Jalen Ramsey and kept Minkah, they would still find a way to sign TJ Watt. They could have moved some things around or whatever shenanigans they do with the salary cap or whatever. I hate crap like that.
Yeah, nothing that Schefter said was incorrect, except he was just trying to tie those two. At the very end, he tried to tie those two together, and it's like, come on. Like, obviously, it's July. We're grasping at straws here.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, it's the way the media works. It's what makes headlines.
Now, another thing that, I mean, and like you said, Dave, most likely this is going to get done. TJ Watt's going to get signed probably like a week before the season starts or something like that.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, I mean, he wants to be here. They want him here. You figure it out.
Right.
And this obsession with, well, I need to make more money than Myles Garrett. Like, hey, man.
Yeah.
First of all, you've made enough money. Second of all, this is a team sport. What are we doing here? But whatever.
Yeah. The only concern there with Watt, because he's not gonna go to training camp if he doesn't until he signs. He's not gonna be, he'll be doing things on the side and whatnot. But it's like, when it comes to training camp, that's about as real as it gets until the preseason starts, right? And Watt never plays in it anyway. So the concern is he going to be rusty? Is he going to have the I word?
There was we ran into this exact same situation like 3 or 4 years ago. His contract was up. He didn't, and he showed up to training camp, but he held in. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. He had his best year that year.
That's true. He did, didn't he?
I'm not worried about that now.
He tied the record that year.
Right.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's different is last time he showed up to mini camp. This time he didn't. What if he just doesn't show up to training camp at all? Which kind of sounds like it's possible because it sounds like he's a lot more upset this time. I don't know. I mean, I think either way it'll be ready. He'll be ready, but this is just. You know what? If someone insulted me by only offering me $30 million a year, I would take that insult. You can insult me anytime you want if you're going to give me that much money.
I mean,
or only 38 million or whatever. Like,
yeah, that's
please.
Quite a problem to have.
Now, I don't know about you two, but I've never been a athlete, let alone a high level athlete in anything I've done.
I play chess.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking the Al Bundy. Back in high school, I was a big deal thing. Okay, I never was. So I never got the whole, I'm so special because I'm an athlete. But there is a different mentality, especially when you get an NFL player who's Defensive Player of the Year, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. Right now, considered one of the top 3 defensive, or definitely top 5 defensive players in the league. That's a different, especially with his family, where most people would say, there's the thing of, is TJ Watt the best player in his family? Probably not.
Well,
JJ better. I mean, how many other people could say you're the best at what you do right now, but you may not be the best in your family? So there's a different mentality going on from early on that it's hard to get in his mind, especially when someone has that much money.
You know who did get in his mind? Now that you bring that up, I think his brother actually got in his mind because JJ Watt was not a one helmet guy. He eventually went to another team. Yeah. And yes, JJ was better than a better defensive player than TJ. But what if JJ is telling TJ, like, hey, don't take no hometown discounts. Don't let him get one over you. You get as much as you can. I think he's in his ear because this time it's different. It could get ugly. We will see.
Yes.
I mean, honestly though, if they trade him, how much picks do you think they could get for?
At least two first round picks, at least.
I mean, would you go for 2 number ones, or would you go with we want your number 1, your number 2 for next year, and your number 2 and 3 for the year after?
I would think that's reasonable. and but the thing is, we're talking about, well, are they going all in or whatever? Yes and no. The reason why they're able to get a Jalen Ramsey and pay DK Metcalf $150 million contract and all the other things they're doing is because they got a quarterback on the cheap. Last year they paid $2 million or something to each of Fields and Russell Wilson. This year they're only paying Aaron Rodgers like 10, 12, 13 million. So they got extra space to do things like this. And this is not hurting them long term. They still, it's not like they're trading high draft picks or something like that. So they're still set up for next year, but they could try for this year too. So it could be interesting.
Yeah, they're not a crash and burn team.
No,
this isn't
they're not the Browns
or even the Patriots. When Brady left, the Patriots went straight down quickly. They still haven't come back up yet. They're getting too close to respectable. Yeah.
See, that's why when people slam Tomlin, they need to remember we never had that 4-13 season. We never sucked. We lost our Hall of Fame quarterback too, but we didn't suck. We just, we weren't good, but we didn't suck.
Right.
So, and that's credit to Tomlin for taking a not great team and elevating them.
Yeah.
But so it's like we're kind of in the middle of a rebuild, and what they're trying to do is, okay, we're getting our franchise quarterback next year. We're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. No matter who knows where in the first round that's going to be. Let's set him up with a good offensive line. Let's set him up with a good, just like they did with Ben when they drafted Ben. It's like, okay, let's set this guy up for success. When he starts. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Will Howard. We already have Will
Howard.
First round.
So what you're saying is go get a Will Howard jersey. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Another thing. I mean, one rumor I heard was that when the Steelers and Dolphins were talking, the Dolphins were okay with just getting a draft pick for Jalen Ramsey, and the Steelers offered Minkah. So we're hearing things now that the relationship with Minkah wasn't so great, and maybe he didn't get along with his teammates so well, and maybe he was the cause of some of the miscommunication things. What I do know is, in terms of splash plays, interceptions, forced fumbles, things like that, he hasn't done any of that in like the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And he was making a lot of money. That was actually another tweet from Jerry Dulac. He said something like, he didn't make for as much as he was making, he wasn't providing the splash plays. And if you're paying someone that much, you would expect. Here's this way. Steelers were not actively trying to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they were willing to listen to any team who showed interest. They felt the absence of splash plays in the last 2 years was not commensurate for what they were paying him. And I know people are saying, well, they told him, the coaches told him to go back there, because all he did was just go 30 yards off the ball. He was like a scarecrow out there.
Right.
And just prevent the deep pass. And it's like, well, you don't understand football. He was actually very valuable. It's like, okay, but it kind of sounds like they actually were not happy with his performance.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it also could have been like you said, it could have been, if we were paying you half as much, we would be happy with what you're giving us. But what we're paying you, we want a whole lot more than what you're giving us. Plus, he's got 1 year left in his contract, right? Minkah. So
yeah,
how much is he? May be like, okay, I am the player I was a couple years ago, so I need to be paid like that. And the Steelers are going to be, we're not going to pay you that.
Well, I wonder what he's going to do in Miami. I wonder if he's all of a sudden going to be like that guy, like when he first got traded to the Steelers, that was like making plays left and right and causing fumbles and interceptions and stuff like that. Or, just to show them, it's like, oh yeah, you really messed up getting rid of me. Or is he just going to be the same scarecrow? Basically?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with their defense in Miami. I don't really know. That's a very good question.
Yeah. Miami's kind of a mess. I mean, they kind of went all in like a year or two ago, and it didn't work. So now they're stuck. They couldn't pay Jalen Ramsey. They couldn't pay Smith, and we'll see.
Who was it? I'm trying to remember who put it out. Miami, the tweet of the Will Smith looking around the empty room.
That was Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Cheetah.
He's like, oh, where did everyone go? I'm on this team. There's no one else here.
Right.
You really don't want to see that from a star player of yours.
Right.
No.
Right.
But, Tyreek Hill, he posts some kind of outrageous stuff. So,
especially because it's not like they traded Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu just for draft picks. They got a player back. So how do you think Minkah feels? It's like, hey, nobody's around here anymore. It's like, yo, dude, what about me? Am I chopped liver or something? Hey, I don't know. If the Dolphins want to just give the Tyreek Hill to the Steelers, he could be our slot receiver.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But yeah, like you said about Minkah, though, like last year, what I heard, especially listening to your show, Joe, was like, okay, he's standing around doing nothing. Where's he at? And
you couldn't even see him on the screen.
Yeah,
No.
You couldn't even see. He was way off screen.
And
Where's
if you would
Waldo?
say, yeah, but if you would say, well, he wasn't where but he was integral to the leadership of the defense. But then you hear all last year communication issues.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the leadership of the defense, and should be making sure there's no communication issues. You can't improve. Some people are there physically, but you can get them as a leader. You should be able to help people with their mental game.
And now we're hearing he was the cause of the communication issues.
Yeah, somebody said that, and I just think that's
He didn't like what was going on, so he kind of, quote unquote, went into business for himself and just did what he wanted. Well, hey, bro, this is a team game. This is not, individual. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like. If you're supposed to be a certain place and you're not, you're screwing everybody else. And it sounds like, I mean, if we believe the rumors, that was the cause of a lot of frustration.
Well, yeah, because this is the second time, or at least the second time this year, where a player has left the Steelers, and then all of a sudden sources said, Russell Wilson, all of a sudden, sources say that he didn't get along with the offensive coordinator, and sources say he was an issue. That's why it was nothing during the season, nothing before he officially signed with anyone else. It literally, and I literally sound like someone after, they were let go, someone in the Steelers office called their favorite reporter, said, okay, put me down as sources. Right. This is the issue that was there.
That's
because
that's
happening.
Exactly what
it's
happens.
Happening more than once. It's happening more than
once.
It's literally the bad mouthing of the former teammate.
Right.
That happens in corporate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The guy who was here who did your job before. Oh, he was miserable. He was an idiot. He didn't know what he was doing.
And everything that's wrong, you could blame on the person that just left.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Why did that happen? Oh, that was. Oh man.
So glad they're gone.
Which is funny because whenever I leave a place, I'm like, there's no way they could possibly exist without me, and somehow they do. I don't know.
Right.
Somehow the world keeps going on, but
it does.
Yeah, it's just funny how, and then just follow Jerry Dulac. That's one of the things, because I think he has some well-placed sources. I wish I had sources. That's my next goal. I'm gonna get some sources.
Well, Art Rooney's a pretty good source to have. You know what I mean?
Seriously, that's why you listen to Jerry Dulac, because
exactly.
That's directly, That's now the question becomes, okay, we traded a safety for a cornerback. How's this gonna work? Because according to Jerry Dulac, they're all gonna play. Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey, they're all gonna play at the same time. So is Ramsey the safety now? I don't know. I guess we'll see how this works.
I mean, literally, I think I saw last year the nickel package was their base package. So it wasn't a matter of, we have our starting 4 defensive backs, and then it's like, we're starting 5 people back there. So literally, this could, kind of a weird analogy, this could be like softball outfield. If you remember softball outfield, there's 4 people back there, right? There's not really a center fielder. There's just 4 people playing outfield, and they played zones in the outfield. Are we going to be like, okay, we have defensive backs, but how do you define a cornerback or safety or free safety or strong? We don't use those terms as much anymore.
Right.
You could have someone who's more press, who's more one-on-one, but we have other people who they do a little bit of both.
One thing I've heard is another reason they got rid of Minkah is because basically that type of defense that involved the safety playing so often and just defending the deep field or whatever is kind of out of date, and they're kind of moving toward, a more modern defense where
Steelers and modern in the same sentence. What?
I know. Crazy. Yeah. I don't know. But I mean, another thing is I've heard if you call someone talked to Jalen Ramsey and said, "Oh, you're something about a cornerback." He's like, "No, I'm not a cornerback. I'm a defensive back." So he's fine playing whatever. And another thing, I mean, Jalen Ramsey is, I don't know where you would rank him right now, but historically he's been one of the better cornerbacks, defensive backs in the league. So, and there's other players, Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson, players that start as cornerback and then ended up as safety. Maybe that's what's going on here. And either way, and let's say now, God forbid, somebody gets hurt. There's Slay, Joey Porter Jr., or something like that. Now you can just throw Jalen Ramsey in. So it's a nice problem to have.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, it's what you're saying about the who plays where. Could we see a lot of going to the offensive side of the ball? 3 tight end sets. So instead of having 2 wide receivers and a tight end and 2 running backs, you have you have 1 wide receiver, you have 3, tight ends and a running back or 2.
Yeah, I
Jonnu Smith. We haven't even talked to him yet.
I thought last year we were going to be doing a lot of 2 tight end sets and whatnot. I just want to see 2. Let's just do. But it was more than before. But I sort of feel like let's get one thing. Let's do one
honestly,
thing well first.
I'm a little disappointed in Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah,
I expected more from him, and we'll see what happens. But
it also depends. We're gonna have a quarterback for the first time since Ben Roethlisberger retired, right? So it's like, hey, that may be a big reason why Freiermuth. It may be a big reason why George Pickens wasn't, as good as he was, or he wasn't as good as he could be, you know. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting season. That's to say the least, right?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about poor Jonnu Smith, and
right,
and because now we have to see, is this it? Are they getting another safety? Are they getting another wide receiver? Or who, and if so, when? I don't know. I think they still need one more wide receiver, just for funsies. I sort of feel like it's going to end up being somebody that Aaron Rodgers played with before. I would be surprised if it wasn't, right? I mean, Lazard.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, right, yeah, exactly." Everybody's saying, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers isn't what everybody, made him out to be." But I still feel like once training camp comes along and maybe Roman Wilson isn't as ready as maybe they were hoping he was, or, he's just not connecting with Rodgers. You know what I mean? I think training camp is going to be very telling. And I think that's going to be, if we're going to make another move for wide receiver, it's going to be sometime, in August.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I think that goes both ways, though. I think there's been a lot of new coaches and stuff. They could, when training camp starts or whatever, they could look at the team they have and the wide receivers they have and say, I don't like this guy, or whatever, and they could be available. Either get cut or draft pick. But yeah, the thing with Rodgers is, it's like, oh, he likes his guys. Well, he requires precision, and that means he has to have a tremendous relationship with that receiver. So, and a tremendous amount of trust. So, yeah, I'd be perfectly happy with a Lazard. I know he's not the greatest, but yeah, he knows Aaron Rodgers really well. So yeah, I'd be okay with something like that. They don't need a superstar. It would be nice. It would be nice to have Tyreek Hill or something like that. But just somebody like a Lazard or a Gabe Davis or something like that, just in case. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of 2 and 3 tight ends because Freiermuth is mostly a pass catching tight end. Jonnu Smith is mostly a pass catching tight end, and then they love Darnell Washington, and he is strictly run a run blocker. There's 3 tight ends right there. It's like you don't have, there's not a lot of room for wide receivers and running backs out there. So
no,
maybe
Washington takes up like 2 spots.
Right. Let's do 5 tight ends. Let's do a 5 tight end offense. What would that be? That would be a 13 is 1 running back and 3 tight ends.
Bring back Zach Gentry.
Yeah.
Why not?
If there were 5 tight ends on the field, Arthur Smith might be in trouble for he might explode. He might or do a lewd act or something like that. That would be his dream.
Or explode, same thing. Lewd act,
or just spontaneously go up. So now people were complaining, oh, the Steelers don't change anything. They don't make any changes. Well, they don't make any changes in the coaches, but they made a lot of changes this offseason. Minkah Fitzpatrick, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. And now, of all of them, who do you think is going to do the best this year with their new team? I think Najee. I have a feeling Najee is going to have a good year with a good offensive line and a good running offense. I see him like when it's like 3rd and goal on the 2, like pounding it in or something like that. I see him getting like 15 touchdowns, but like not a lot of yards. They just use him as like the short yardage back or something like that. I think
I can see that. I can see that for sure because they just drafted a guy, Hampton, right, in the 1st round. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think Najee is going to be starting, in my opinion, but that means nothing. But yeah, I mean, it does seem like because we all know we learned very early on in his career that he's not an explosive back, right? So,
well, I would say we learned, but some people who threw him on, throw Najee, just toss it to him, let him go wide,
right? Yeah.
Oh.
They say the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity is throwing the pitch play to Najee over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
God, that was frustrating.
You can't blame Najee for that because physically he's
not
not
equipped
built
for that.
To do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm sorry, and I don't see either of the quarterbacks doing great.
No, part of me wants Justin Fields to just kick some ass in New York.
Oh no, I mean, but
I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm gonna say we're talking the Jets here,
right? Yeah.
We're there. New York is going to eat him alive, and Russell Wilson being on a really crappy team is going to eat him alive too.
Yeah,
that poor guy better get his running shoes on because he is going to be running for his life. And especially in with the Giants, because they got that Jackson Dart, and everybody's going to be like, when we get rid of this old guy, let's put in the new guy. Let's play with our shiny new toy.
Right? Yeah. Honestly, like going back now, I'm rethinking I feel like George Pickens. You know what I mean? Like he may do some big things in Dallas. That's my take.
He could do big things, but it's a mental thing for him.
It's all in his head.
Right. Yeah.
And wide receivers who leave, and it's not always good to group together, but look at the wide receivers who have left Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
Juju Smith was the only one who turned out recent who left. And that wasn't a matter. Yeah. And we didn't really get rid of him. We didn't re-sign him, but it wasn't a matter of it was like, oh, we would love to have you. Not for that money though.
Right.
How about Deontay Johnson saying, I ain't going to the game because it was cold. It was 41 degrees. I'm not going in. Like, buddy, 41? 41 is warm in in the winter months, man. What are you talking about?
I'm going to go out there and look really bad. And plus I'll have to warm up before I get in. And I don't want to pull muscle by going and playing in cold.
Ew. Yeah. Ew. I might get dirty. Ew.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the more you see what's happened to the wide receivers, the more you're like, Tomlin has magic with some people. You made, his game day adjustments may be horrible. His clock management is horrible. But if you look at the amount of people who have completely lost their freaking mind, literally someone who left the country to get rid of a murder charge against them. And somehow you have people saying, if AB could have kept it another couple years, he'd be a Hall of Famer. His 5-year stretch was that good with the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
But when he lost it, he just lost it. And he couldn't then play anywhere else. Deontay Johnson, it's like, oh, he's a great run. He left. Nothing. Chase Claypool.
Oh, God.
Here's
Mapletron.
Right, Mapletron. Yeah, he had that nickname.
I'm shocked I don't have a Chase Claypool jersey. I'm shocked I didn't buy one of those because I love the dude. At first.
Yeah.
Here's my theory. Tomlin puts up with all of that behavior and just keeps it quiet and just sweeps it under the rug. AB was crazy. Deontay Johnson, I'm sure I'm sure that's not the first time he said, "Ew, cold weather," or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And all the stuff they had to put up with Pickens. Now, when they go to other teams and they try to pull that crap, other teams are like, we're not tolerating this idiocy. What are you talking about? Get out of here. So there's a very real chance that's going to happen with George Pickens, where they just say, we're not putting up with this idiot. What are you get out of here? Or
Dallas is a perfect place for him.
Oh God. Like, Jerry Jones is gonna eat him alive, but or Pickens could say, "I'm gonna be on my best behavior at least for a few weeks and just absolutely ball out."
Gotta say, go for a few weeks, because honestly, if there was any time for him to say, "I'm on my best behavior," it would be coming into this year.
I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna have like in week 2 or 3. He's going to have 10 catches for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And people's like, oh my God, the Steelers are idiots for getting rid of this awesome all-world talent. And then he's going to show up late to a game and they're going to be like, I don't know what they put it. Pickens has been placed on administrative leave or something like that. It's gonna be like a firecracker. Happy 4th of July, everyone. He's gonna burn bright and explode and then fall to the ground.
They're putting him on the COVID list.
Something like that. Yeah. He'll be put on administrative leave or the I don't know, the commissioner's list or whatever they call it. He'll be put in timeout.
Right.
Well, I just pulled up the Cowboys schedule just to see what would happen. Week 1 at Philadelphia.
Oh, well, okay. So he might end up in jail. He's going to fight half the Eagles team. Is it in Philadelphia or is it in Dallas?
It's at Philly.
Oh yeah.
September
they got a jail
4th.
right in the stadium.
Yeah, September 4th. So it's like the very first game of the year. So this isn't even just like this is the first game period.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
And then like home against the Giants, against the Bears, Packers, Jets. So Wednesday, and then Panthers and Commanders. So once they're past that first game, he may have a horrible first game, then take off.
He is balling out. Mark my words, he's balling out against the Giants. He will have a huge game against the Giants, and then it's just gonna go all downhill. I'm gonna save this. I'm rarely right about things.
Write it down.
I feel very sure. Write it down.
Write it down.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's
Yeah.
see if the
I mean,
rest
also-
of this off season is quiet. Well,
Oh,
I mean,
no.
really, what do we have? Like 2 or 3 weeks until training camp starts.
Yeah.
But I no,
So-
this will not be quiet before, because you still have the TJ Watt, Willie Aroni. There's probably going to be a signing or two, and also, like you said, there's going to be players from teams in the middle of training camp where they get cut, and then we pick them up.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
But just remember, this year is going to be calm compared to next year.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Next year with the draft going, like you said, it's like, okay, let's say they end up 30th. Great. They're still drafting a quarterback, and they're going to get like 4 drafts to get up in the top, 4 picks to get up in the top 10.
Allison, I know you're not. I know you're in Florida right now. Basically, all of Pittsburgh is under construction right now. It's like if you had a group project and it's due tomorrow night, and you're like, oh my god, okay, let's all get this right, or you're gonna. They are. The entire city is like under construction right now to get ready for the draft. I think that the point is out.
The point's out, because the Arts Festival had to move to the Strip District because the point couldn't be used.
Oh,
They're making a big park on like 8th and 9th Avenue.
We're just
8th
making
and
one.
9th Street.
Wow.
But
What's
it used to be
You're just gonna make it.
It used to be an old garage.
Okay.
And they tore down the
Okay.
garage because the garage was in great shape. And they're like, yeah, you don't really need another garage. Let's put a park. It's really close to a lot of the art stuff. So there's going to be like an outdoor amphitheater there, a park, a water area, a couple
It's
city
going to
blocks.
be pretty when it's done. But now it's just all a mess.
Yeah. This is literally the parents are coming over in a month. Let's start cleaning and fixing the house now.
Right. Exactly.
No one can come over in the next 3 weeks while we're fixing stuff. When they come over, it's going to look great, but now it's crap.
And they still have like, what, 8 months?
That fountain's not even on this year.
Yeah.
They turned the fountain off to work on the fountain this year to get it ready for next year.
It's like this. It's
point,
like if you live in Pittsburgh right now, you don't count. Like you don't like we're just you suck. We're just getting ready for next year.
We're doing this for all the visitors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The last thing to happen at the point was early May. The marathon.
Oh, okay.
The marathon had
marathon.
At the end of the marathon, they have their tent set up for the post race things that happen there. And that's the last thing that happened at the point. Because after that was the first Sunday in May. They said, okay, we're going to start working on it for next year, 10 months down the road.
That's where they have like a whole bunch of people for the 4th of July. I don't know where they're going to go. I
have no idea.
We're canceling 4th of July this year in Pittsburgh.
Pretty much, yeah. And then, so there's going to be the draft in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And in that draft, the Steelers are going to pick the Messiah, who will lead us to the promised land. No pressure, buddy. Whoever you are, you're we're going to watch every move you make because no pressure. You only have to be the next Terry Bradshaw, the love child of Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. So no pressure, but all of our hopes are on you, whoever you are, who's probably driving a sports car right now because they're making all kinds of NIL money. So they're already doing all right. But yeah, next year the training camp, every all eyes will be on this unnamed person who has yet to be drafted. That our entire hopes and dreams will be on this one person.
And the only thing that could make it crazier, if it's a Manning.
Oh my God. Oh my
God.
God.
He may stay in another year. He may stay in another year because that, like I said, the NIL money is actually better than the rookie contract.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So he may be like, you know what? I'm going to stay in college, get more money, and then you can pay me. But if he comes out and he's drafted by the Steelers.
Yeah.
He's going to have to suck because we're going to the Super Bowl. So
No pressure.
We're drafting 32nd.
Pressure, buddy.
Yeah, this year we're going to the Super Bowl. So
we're drafting 32nd, which is going to
Mhm.
really suck when we have to trade up to number 1 to get Arch Manning. So what are we trading to get?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. There's so many right? That's all I can say.
It's going to be a wild next 12 months of Steeler football and Steeler related football stuff.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
This is not going to be boring.
No.
We joke that there's no off season, and even in the off season, there's no off season. This is supposed to be the quiet time, people. We're supposed to relax to get ready for the season, and already we just spent an hour talking about this is the biggest trade in Steelers history. Would you agree with that?
I'm not ready to. I mean, maybe.
No.
What was bigger?
Bus.
Yeah, but that was just, they didn't know the bus was the bus. They traded like a second-round draft pick for him, and he ended up being this Hall of Famer. But he was just some dude.
No. The thing is, if they didn't have the changeover with the Rams, where they decided to bring in, I forget the person they brought. It was like, oh yeah, we're going to switch. Even though we drafted Jerome Bettis in the first round 2 years earlier, we're going to completely switch. We have a new coaching staff. We just got to get rid of this guy because we're going another complete direction. But people knew he was good. Maybe not Hall of Fame good, but you knew he was good. It was a steal. That was a steal. Yeah. That was a steal, and that was a steal that even though Bus didn't win a title till his last year, it completely changed that team late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
He was amazing.
Honestly, I really think if Cowher or whoever would have thought to handle Cordell Stewart differently and realize what they had, who knows what that team could have done.
But that's, I
know it's a what if, but still.
It just wasn't done.
No.
That's
what I'm saying.
Back in the day, you had to be a classic drop back quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There was no like, what do you mean? What do you mean running? Like there was very few running quarterbacks out there. Now he would basically be Lamar Jackson 1.0.
Right.
And just run all the time. I mean, he was Cordell was something else, but
no, this is a major trade. I would say major trade, but to hold off as the biggest, I want to wait a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the fallout. This is a huge shock of a trade, but I want to see if all of a sudden in 2 years' time we're like, they really should have held on to Minkah. He had 6 interceptions for each year for 2 years, and the guys we cut halfway through the year because they were so miserable. I want to see, like you said, give it a little time. Major trade. I would say the biggest trade since the trade we got Minkah in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was
trading a first for Minkah. Yeah.
And of course, that's right. And we traded him right after Ben got hurt and was out for the year. So Miami was probably thinking, "Oh, Steelers, they're going to win 2 games for the remainder of the year. We're going to get 2 top draft picks." And we're going to get rid of this guy.
I heard Tomlin did that just so he could keep his streak of above 500 because Roethlisberger got hurt in that. So he needs, because Tomlin only needs to keep his streak in. It's all he cares about in that. People actually believe that, folks. You know what? We would have got Justin Herbert that draft, but no, we had got Minkah in that. Just for funsies, let's trade for Minkah again in a couple years. Let's make it the third best. Let's trade Will Howard.
Might as well. We'll only be Jalen Ramsey's age by then. So
yeah, why not?
Why not?
Just keep coming. Just keep going back and forth between Pittsburgh and Miami.
Right.
All right. I think that's a good point to end this.
It is a very good point to stop.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much.
It was fun.
I'm so happy we got to talk.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Definitely.
You guys are a good combo.
Right.
See, no comments. No comments. This is all your fault, Dave.
Right.
The only
We did
comment
have
we
a
had was from
Dave,
you.
though.
That mysterious stranger who somehow
Right.
typed on my computer
Hacked
while I'm
you.
live on air.
I was gonna comment. I was gonna put a comment that said like, "Dave is a jag off fire, Allison," or something like that. But
That would have been even better.
yeah. All right. Hey guys, thanks so much.
Yep. See ya.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you.
Where is the exit button? There it is.
Is that it?